These events will come across that journey, which will give you opportunity to recalibrate your thought process, redefine your career. You should always have a long-term goal, be it investment, be it career.
So just to start off with, so why don't you just give a slight introduction about yourself so the audience kind of knows what they're in for?
I'm Prashant Thakur. I work as head of research at ANAROCK Consultant. I have been tracking real estate industry for almost 18 years now, working in the field of research and advisory, focused on Indian as well as global real estate, for almost 18 years now.
So, I kind of wanted to have a discussion about how one can kind of just prepare themselves in general for what is unknown. And currently, the real estate market is something which, as at least to us common people, seems very dicey and something, we are kind of scared right now a little bit with how the real estate market is. So, just to start off, like, how's the vibe right now? Like, what is the mood in the industry, real estate industry? And like from the seller's point of view as well as the customer.
So, see, first let us understand the concept of owning a house in the Indian psyche. I think very long. There was a movie which had a song. I don't remember the name. It said "Roti, Kapda or Makan."
Yes.
So these are the three basic fundamentals which around which the Indian human or mental psyche revolves around. And to be more precise, during this pandemic, I think the importance of home or the concept of home has been redefined. Earlier, owning a house meant some kind of financial investment, financial security, or just roof over the head. But if you look at in today's context, the definition or the functionality of home has kind of grown. Apart from providing shelter, it is now working. It has been functioning like office for many of us. It has been functioning like schools for many of our kids who are doing this online education. Apart from that, yes, safety needs. But you're right that in these uncertain times, people are a bit scared that what is going to happen with the real estate prices, whether it is good time to buy, a good time to sell, whether we should continue looking at real estate the same way we used to. So let us understand one thing that India has a natural demand for housing. We are a housing deficit country. But somehow this concept of owning a house was kind of more or less promoted as an investment product. So if you remember, when in 2013 when this housing boom peaked, the entire housing market was driven by investors. Today you buy the price, and within 1 month you could sell it at 25 to 30% of the price. Nobody bothered whether the construction has started, whether the developer was good or bad. The prices were kind of going up in one direction, that was upward, and then entirely it was pushed by investors and speculators. Money was easily flowing in, and there was no regulation around it. Anybody who owned a piece of land and had good government, let's say, good connection, could become a developer. But somehow, this led to a price bubble and also a lot of issues of non-delivery of apartments and flat. And that's where, the need of a regulator was felt and things started to change for good. Though the journey has been really very painful for most of the developers as well as other stakeholders. After RERA coming in, when the transparency was brought in, and then also this government, Modi government that came in, the focus was more on kind of demonetization, removing all those black money, and then Benami Act was brought in. So slowly, all these shady deals, black money flowing into real estate stopped, and this RERA also kind of brought in a lot of accountability on the developers in terms of you cannot launch a project before getting approvals. You had to adhere to a timeline, certain quality, and that's when the buyers got a voice. Now they had some formal authority where they can approach in case of any kind of grievance.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, while this sector was reeling under a lot of regulatory changes, a lot of disruption, which was good for this industry in long term, few unfortunate things happened in terms of, let's say, this pandemic. Now, if we look at the market point of view, we have a huge amount of unsold inventory. Which developer will fall off the cliff is kind of uncertain because all of them are over leveraged. But having said, and also not to mention, I should not forget to mention that the buyers are kind of really under tremendous pressure because of loss of income, job uncertainty, and other aspects. But one should also remember that this is also one of the right time to buy if you are buying that house for end use, not for investment. And the reason I say so is number one, there has been a lot of transparency that has been brought into the market. This is number one. People who want to buy under construction property, they can go to RERA website, they can check whether this project has been approved or not. But apart from that, there are a lot of ready to move in inventory in the market. Your home loan rates are almost at historical low. It is almost in the range of 6.5 to 6.8. Right. And the prices have not gone anywhere in the last 7 to 8 years. So if you account for inflation, technically it has seen a huge price correction. If you look at factor that there are a lot of ready to move in inventory to choose from, the interest rate are quite low, and if you sit across the table, the developers are willing to negotiate. But again, the caveat is not for your investment purpose. If you want to buy for your end use, this is and if you're sure about your job and other aspect, and if you really want to buy for end use, I think this is the best time to buy.
Okay. This actually was my second question. I'm glad that you answered it, because right now this advice is floating around in the market like hotcakes, because especially for the millennials and people who've just started earning money, the advice is that, oh, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, see this pandemic as an opportunity and make the most of it, invest in stocks, mutual funds, everything. And with that, a lot of advice comes with property also, that that why don't it's like the builder is also right now looking to sell off the property, so why don't you make the most of it and get it. And I think you already answered that question, that as long as you're planning to live in it, I think it's good to buy. But I mean, obviously not as an investment, right?
Yeah. Again, for example, let's say if it fits, see, if you look at investment, it comprises of various asset class, stock, gold, bonds, and obviously real estate is also one of them. Now, for example, if you want to invest in real estate, there are other aspects also or avenues. Like, for example, two REITs are now available in the Indian stock market where you can invest, which is much safer bet. But if a millennial is kind of let's say if a person is looking at, for example, let's say I met one of a guy who asked me this question that I'm looking for an early retirement. He was in the age of 40, or let's say I would say 40 42. So if you look at his need, for him securing a house would make sense. Yeah. So it also depends at which part of your career you are, what is your need. That the investment is driven basically by your need and your goal. Your investment goal cannot be determined by the ongoing market condition because they keep on changing. Your investment decision, your investment goal is a long term, and these ups and downs would give you opportunity to value pick, be it your stock market or let's say property market. So one has to look at that angle, not that oh, this is very cheap, but does it fits into my long term investment plan?
So basically, how well is one prepared to handle that?
Yeah.
But for somebody who's kind of in that transition period of their life where they are progressing and they want to kind of move out or take that next step in their life in terms of maybe getting married or a new job or just some big change, it's very daunting and it's quite scary and you don't know what to do. Like, you feel like I'll go out there and probably that broker will rip me off, or this rent seems too expensive in Bombay. So it's a lot of confusion and it's a lot of fear. Would you advise anything so that the fear can be kind of tackled with reason?
See, the first, the rule that I follow for investment, if you are really kind of confused, or there's some kind of lingering fear in your mind, don't invest during that period of time. Don't take any long-term call. So, for example, let's say if we take a classical example of a young couple, millennial who just got married, and just to answer your question that they're a bit confused whether to buy or rent, they're not sure that whether the prices that they're getting is right or not. I would advise them to kind of first go for a rented accommodation in first 6 or 7 months or 1 year. Take the time to understand the locality where they want to buy, experience the property that they want to live in, and use couple of let's say months to kind of do some kind of basic research around the locality that they are planning to live in. And I think they will get some kind of idea. And then once they have a fair amount of idea, that their kind of anxiety would come down. I think then it would be right time to kind of take some long term call, because this current situation of depression in real estate market is not going away very soon. So you have enough time to take your calculated call.
Right. I think one main message that I'm kind of making out from what you're saying is that I mean, obviously, the time and the whatever happens at that time in the world is one thing, but how well prepared you are, what your mindset is also very important, and that should be the key factor in deciding what you want to do, right? And not just getting influenced by what's happening around.
Exactly.
Right. That really makes sense, because we tend to get stuck so much, and because everybody is kind of pressurizing us, and we feel that even if somebody doesn't, we feel that pressure that okay, oh my god, I need to do something about it. But even if something is not done about it, that's not a bad thing as long as that's thought of, right? And what would you advise to somebody who's wanting to get into the real estate market at this point, like trying to choose this as a career?
I think this is the best time, though this industry is going through a lot of pain. I think this pain is for good. This industry is going through a phase of what I will say is formalization, from an unorganized sector to a very organized sector.
Right.
Post all these structural changes that has happened, there's a lot of consolidation also taking place in this sector, where you'll notice that a lot of unorganized players are now slowly being replaced by big corporate names or foreign institutional players. So while 10 to 15 years back, the only possible career in real estate would have been either you become a broker or you become a sales guy, or if you're an engineer, then you have a career. But with these, corporate players coming in, a lot of foreign institutional investors coming in, the demand for real estate research professional, real estate analysis professional would increase. So if somebody is looking at a profession, real estate as a profession, they have various avenues now. They can look at the valuation part. Corporate finance will gain a lot of prominence. Risk management is another area where this sector is kind of looking very seriously at. So there's a host of other things coming in, and this sector has dearth of qualified professionals. So that's why the institutions like RIGS and other, if you'd see, a lot of MBA colleges have come out with specialized courses in real estate.
Okay.
And let's not forget that real estate is the second largest employment generator.
Yeah.
Contributes almost 6% of the GDP, which is expected to grow 13%. So somewhere, I think this sector is going to provide a lot of opportunities for specialized professionals.
Right.
I think from a youngster point of view, this sector provides all it ticks all the boxes. It has huge amount of learning. It has huge amount of let's say excitement, and then it touches everybody's life.
Right.
From the buyers, you get to interact with government officials, foreign institutional investors. You get to understand the consumer behavior, government policies, and all those stuff. So I think this is a very exciting area where I would advise youngsters to look at, especially millennials, because they are going to be one of the biggest consumer of real estate going forward, and this is the best time for them to get involved in this journey where this real estate industry itself is going through a lot of change and transformation.
So the change in the perception is also very important. Instead of just seeing it as okay, I can only become a builder or a broker, there are a lot of things which can be done now, which are coming up. When globalization happened in our country and when competition increased, one of the best things about that is that the quality of the service or the product increases, right? because if you're a small business and then a medium business or a corporation kind of comes in, you are forced to also start delivering that quality. Do you see that happening in real estate as well, as things are getting more formalized?
Yeah, in fact, if you look at RERA,
Yeah.
RERA has a special provision for assuring quality and delivery on the developers. Now, for example, any structural damage or defect, even if it is found after 5 years, the developer is liable to fix it.
Okay.
And I think the buyers themselves have kind of evolved a lot. They demand a lot of quality. They've become a lot of quality conscious because
Right.
most of the buyers now are well traveled. Now,
Yeah.
talk about especially millennials or let's say young generation. They've traveled across the globe. They've experienced the best of construction, the best of services. That's what they're expecting. And as I mentioned, that this sector is going through a phase of formalization where a lot of corporate players are coming in, a lot of foreign players are getting involved. And once these things happen, automatically the quality of service, the quality of delivery, the quality of corporate governance goes up. That's what this industry is going through right now.
So you'd say that it's a positive outlook for the real estate market and for the buyers in general in the next 10 years. Would you say that?
I would definitely say that because, as I said at the start of my conversation, that India is a housing deficit country.
Housing
And,
development.
and then we still talk about close to 2 crores of housing shortage in urban areas.
Right.
So somehow when this journey started of real estate in early 2000, I think wrong set of players were involved because of lack of regulation. Lot of wrong was done, which led to this situation. But I think this sector is going through a process of self cleansing. The government is also very serious. Regulators are also serious.
Right.
And what we see at the end of the tunnel would be a more formalized, a more well governed industry.
And what about the price correction? Because if there is a lot of unsold inventory, plus India is housing deficit, do you think housing will become affordable, especially in metropolitan cities, so that the masses can look at it in a with less fear?
So I think if you talk about the old stocks,
Yeah.
I think the chances of price correction is not that much because as I mentioned that from last 7 years prices have not gone up while the construction cost has gone up.
Yeah.
The reason their prices are high because they had bought land at a very inflated price. Now, if we focus on the new supply that is coming in the market, I think from the size as well as the price, the entire focus, even if you look at the government policies or around affordable housing, the developers' interest, it is slowly shifting towards affordable housing. So you're right. As I said, that housing is a commodity that needs to be kind of built on a wide scale,
Yeah.
so that it reaches everybody. The prices has to move towards that. And if we talk about new supply, the most of the supply is coming in the affordable segment.
Right.
It's like we are in the middle of the storm in the real estate sector right now, and once it ends, everything will get cleared and it'll be for the better.
I think it will happen because this is a very important sector.
Right.
And then if you look at other global recessions, past global economic troubles that we had, everywhere the reason was asset, real estate was the reason.
Right.
So I think this is an important sector. This needs to be regulated quite well.
Right.
And that's what we are seeing. And this is the pain. Unfortunately, pandemic has kind of elongated that pain. If this pandemic would have not come, I think the recovery, or let's say the brighter side of this tunnel, we would have reached pretty soon in another quarter or so. But with this COVID coming in, I think that pain has kind of extended.
As long as the pain subsides eventually.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah. I the most interesting point that I'm kind of taking away from our discussion is that guys my age and people my age really have stopped considering real estate as a profession or something to take even seriously, but you're providing a fresh perspective, so I can only hope that the viewers also kind of make sense and understand that real estate is going through that change which is for the better. Right. And it's also important to look within and know what your condition is and what you can afford instead of getting swept up with the current trend. Right. Any final word of advice that you would like to leave the listeners with, so that they can probably ponder on that? And
I think the millennials or the young working population, I think they play a very dominant role in the Indian economy. You know, 58% of any buying decision today, any decision related to commercial activity is now taken by the millennials. 58%, which is quite huge. So I think you know there's a huge responsibility on them, and I think today's youth is quite equipped. I would advise them to kind of look at real estate from a new angle. And if it definitely provides a lot of exciting career opportunity from your job perspective. From investment point of view, a broader advice would be that never get influenced by the current market situation. Your investment decision, and that applies to your career decision also.
Right.
You need to have a long term goal, and you'll get these milestones, or let's say these events will come across that journey, which will give you chances or give you opportunity to recalibrate your thought process. It will also give you opportunity to
Right.
value pick some kind of stocks, or let's say if you're talking about a career, it will give you some opportunity to kind of redefine your career. But you should always have a long term goal, be it investment, be it career. And I think that's I would like to
Right.
say to the youngsters.
So being patient is key, crucial.
Patient and persistent.
Patience and persistence. All right. Thank you so much, sir. This was a very sweet and short discussion, very to the point, and I'm pretty sure the listeners will make sense out of this, and it's already provided me a lot of fresh perspective, even in the small duration of our discussion. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Nice talking to you. Thanks.
Same here.